For the first few weeks, I wasn't so much a person as a collection of unfortunate symptoms. The main attraction was a constant low-grade thrumming in my chest, like a refrigerator on its deathbed. It was the depressing soundtrack to my new life. By day, I was an automaton of corporate excellence, a true artist in the medium of data entry. My fingers would fly across the keyboard, a masterclass in pretending to be a functioning human. My boss, bless his oblivious heart, would ask how I was, and I'd chirp, "Good, just a little tired," with a smile so bright and brittle it threatened to shatter my face into 1,000 pieces. But the second my front door clicked shut, the performance was over. The robot would power down, and it was just me and the death rattle of the phantom fridge in my ribcage. My diet, if you can call it that, was cinnamon sugar toast. Not the artisanal sourdough kind. I'm talking about that cheap white bread that's basically just solidified air, smeared with a questionable butter-like substance and a mountain of cinnamon sugar. I ate it for every meal, standing over the sink like a goblin. It felt appropriate, really. A pathetic little kid's meal for my pathetic little life. But the nights, oh God, the nights. The nights were when the real fun began. They were these vast, empty voids I had to get through, and my phone became my preferred instrument of self-torture. I wasn't basic enough to stalk his Instagram. That was for amateurs. No, I had something far more elegant, far more psychologically damaging. Before the Great Implosion, we'd turned on location sharing, for emergencies. And in the chaos of his departure, he'd forgotten to turn it off. So every night I'd pull up the map and just watch. I'd stare at that little blue dot, his digital avatar, as it blipped from his new apartment to some bar, to some friend's house I wasn't invited to anymore. I was the warden, guard, and sole inmate of my own high-tech prison, and my only job was to obsessively monitor the movements of the one person who was free. I genuinely thought that was my new identity. I was just the sad girl now. The girl who drops her keys 3 times before managing to unlock her own door. The girl who stands in the shower until the hot water gives up in disgust, just staring at a crack in the tile, not even crying, just vacant. It wasn't the dramatic feeling of hitting rock bottom. It was the much more terrifying realization that I had moved in. Rock bottom was my new mailing address. The pilot light of my personality had been unceremoniously snuffed out, and I had no idea where the matches were. The hopelessness was a physical thing, a thick wool blanket soaked in lukewarm misery that I was slowly suffocating under. The thing that finally broke the spell wasn't some cinematic epiphany. It was a random comment in an internet forum for a TV show that had been canceled 5 years ago. I was scrolling, obviously, because what else is there to do at 3 a.m. besides track your ex's bar crawl and read fan theories about a fictional wizard? Someone mentioned a bad breakup, and some other user, probably named WizardFan42 or something, replied, "Ugh, the worst." Someone sent me this stupid 7-day reset thing. I thought it was a joke, but I was desperate. It didn't fix me, but it got me out of bed. And then they just listed it. Day 1, a full digital severance. Day 2, clean your bathroom mirror. Day 3, sit outside in the sun for 10 minutes. Day 4, buy and eat a food you've never tried before. I stopped reading. I actually laughed. A dry, pathetic little bark of a sound that seemed to get swallowed by the silence of my apartment. Clean my mirror? That was the answer to this gaping, bleeding wound where my life used to be. It was the most absurdly simple, almost insulting piece of advice I'd ever heard. But then I saw my own reflection in the dark screen of my phone, this puffy, hollow-eyed ghost, and I thought about that little blue dot. My current routine of sad toast and amateur espionage wasn't exactly a winning strategy. I had literally nothing to lose. So with the last little flicker of what the hell, I decided, fine. I'll do the stupid list. Day 1 was the digital execution. I opened the map, my thumb hovering over his name. My heart was going crazy, hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. What if this was the last time I'd ever know where he was? What if cutting this one last toxic little thread meant he was really, truly gone? It was the only piece of him I had left, this pixelated proof he was still breathing on the same planet. I squeezed my eyes shut, took a breath that felt like I was inhaling gravel, and hit stop sharing. The little blue dot vanished. Poof. Gone. The map was just a map again. The silence from my phone was deafening. My thumb twitched all day, an addict whose dealer had just been arrested. But that night I slept for 6 straight hours. A deep, dreamless, comatose sleep. It was a goddamn miracle. Day 2, the mirror. Waking up and not immediately being able to check the map was a jolt of pure, uncut panic. The fridge in my chest hummed louder. Then I remembered. The mirror. My bathroom mirror looked like a crime scene. It was a Jackson Pollock of toothpaste splatter and despair. It was, to be fair, an accurate portrait of my soul. I stood there and really looked at myself for the first time in weeks. I did not know that person. Her skin was gray. Her eyes were just holes. A surge of something hot and sharp, not sadness, but pure, unadulterated annoyance, shot through me. I grabbed the Windex and just started scrubbing. I scrubbed like a maniac until my arm ached and every last smudge was gone. When I was done, I looked up. The mirror was so clean it was practically invisible. And I could see my own eyes. They were tired and sad, sure, but they were there. They were mine. Day 3 was the sun. Leaving my phone on the counter felt like voluntarily amputating a limb. I just sat on my grimy apartment steps, my whole body vibrating with the need to check something. A car that looked exactly like his drove past, and my stomach dropped into my shoes. My breath caught, and for a second I thought I was going to be sick right there on the concrete. But the car kept going, and I was still sitting there, my heart doing a panicked drum solo. But I didn't run inside. I made myself stay. And after a few minutes, I felt it. The sun on my face. Just a little patch of warmth on my cheek. It was something other than the hum. The next few days were a wobbly, uncertain montage. I went to a bougie grocery store and bought a starfruit, mostly because it looked like an alien artifact. Day 4. It tasted like a confused, slightly sour apple, but it was a new kind of weird. On day 5, I saw a picture a mutual friend posted. He was in the background, just his arm in his favorite jacket. The urge to unblock him, to just look for 1 second, was so strong it was a physical craving. My hands were shaking. Instead, I took a breath, opened my music app, and blasted some obnoxious, angry rock song I used to scream along to in my car in high school. It felt like a war cry. Then I saw a text from my sister I'd ignored for a week. Instead of letting it rot, I typed back, "Hey, sorry I've been a ghost. Day 6. She replied instantly, "We just talked about stupid stuff." And I smiled. A real small smile. Day 7. I wasn't even thinking about the list. I woke up and was just so profoundly sick of my grief uniform, his old stretched-out t-shirt and sweatpants. I put on jeans. They were tight. And a sweater I loved, a bright, offensively green one. I wasn't going anywhere. I was just standing in my kitchen, making coffee, when I caught my reflection in the dark window over the sink. It wasn't some miracle makeover. My hair was a disaster. I had no makeup on, but I looked like me. The girl in the green sweater looked like someone I used to know. The hum in my chest was gone. It was just quiet, and a thought just floated into my head. A quiet, simple, almost boring thought. I should probably get a haircut. Look, that stupid list didn't fix me. I didn't complete a checklist and suddenly ascend to a higher plane of emotional stability. Healing doesn't work like that. There are still days the phantom fridge kicks on. But it was a handrail in the dark. It just gave me one small, solid thing to hold on to and then another, until I could stand up by myself. So if you're reading this from the floor of your own disaster, and you feel like the person you were has packed up and moved away for good, I get it. I'm not going to tell you it's going to be okay, because that's the most useless phrase in the English language. But I will tell you this. Just do one thing. One small, stupid thing. Don't worry about day 7, just do day 1, delete the number. Or just go clean your damn mirror. It won't fix your life, but it's a start. And maybe that's enough for today.